Tuesday. I'm going to be very brief, but if you saw the title of the YouTube video, because this is a method, I'll give you one or two methods that I do when it comes to garden. And I specifically wanted to say, if you're busy, what I mean by that, y'all, is I still work a full-time job and just do a whole bunch of stuff. I run a website, I edit videos, I put up on social media. So I am very, very, very busy. But what I have learned with gardening is two things that have really helped me out, and I want to share it with you because it makes a world of difference. I just got finished doing one of the methods that I've just am going to share with you. One of those methods is this has helped me a lot. So oftentimes you want to get something done and it's like, okay, where do I start? So the first method that I do is method number one, either at night or in the morning. I will get a piece of paper and I will write down maybe 3 to 5 things that I want to accomplish. This can be in the garden, this can be inside the house, this can be anywhere. And I write that down. What I've learned, don't write too many things down because you can get overwhelmed. What I've learned, don't write too many things down because if you think about your day-to-day activities, you have to ask yourself and be truthful to yourself. Will all this stuff really get done by today? And so I've noticed that, y'all, I'm telling you, I used to write down 10, 20 things. And most of the time, it was between 2 to 5 things that actually got done. So that's why for me, I say write down 3 to 5 things. Depending on your schedule, you may only need to write down 2 things that you need to accomplish, or you may can write down 7 things. It just depends on your schedule. So that's the very first thing I do. And I'll think about it. Like tonight, I've just got finished filming some things. I've been around clipping. I've put the tarp down for the rose garden, and those were some of the things that I had on my list. Now, I'm not quite done with the filming because I've ran out of brown mulch, but we'll get that done and we'll get those up to you. Now, what I just got finished doing, this is what I want to share with you. Like sometimes you just want to see a little progress. So what I did is I brought my phone out here and I specifically set a timer for 25 minutes. And let me tell you, this is going to do a whole bunch. It's going to tell you a whole bunch of things. So this bed, like I came to this bed over here and I was like, I saw, y'all know, I tell you my love-hate relationship with this straw mulch. So the batch that we just got down or we just bought, it's okay. But the last batch, horrible. And let me share with you what I'm talking about. You see, all of this is like the straw mulch that needs to be pulled up. These are not plants. These are things that need to be pulled up. So this is what was happening in this bed. So I just set a timer for 25 minutes. And I'm like, for 25 minutes, just go and clean out this bed. So you see, I got stuff right here and I got stuff on this side. And I'm not saying that I got everything up, but it definitely looks a lot better. Now, when I just checked my timer, it only took me 11 minutes to do that. And so that's what I'm sharing with you. Just say for this is also going to tell you how much time approximately it could take to get a garden task done. So I could say for each of these raised beds, if I want to every day say I am going to put since it took me about 11 minutes for this bed, I would say, okay, let me set my timer 15 minutes and let me clean out this bed. And so that's what I would do. It could take more time. It could take less time, depending on what I have growing in here. But that's how I get a lot of things done because I heard a lot of people, share I'm busy, I can't garden because it's just so much. And I understand. I totally understand, y'all. You're talking to somebody that does a lot. As a matter of fact, last night I did not get off until 9 o'clock at night after working till I started work at 7. So at 9 o'clock, I finally logged out. So it's some days like that where I can't even get to the garden, and then I feel like, oh, I got to double up time. But you can't play with time. Time is time, you know. So that's why today I was like, okay, this morning I sat down, I wrote down 3 to 5 things that I want to do once I get off. Now, I write down a few more things on the weekends, just depending on what we have to do. But because I think 2 weeks ago, y'all, let me tell you, I was out here probably for about 4 hours on Saturday and on Sunday, just trying to get things done, because I am one that can confirm that if you sometimes wait, it could start to things, garden tasks can start to accumulate, and then it could be overwhelming. I shared before one of my stories when I stayed in the Savannah area that I was driving an hour to work, an hour from work. Chris was in Korea. I had the kids. I had to help them with homework. Like, I literally just stopped for about 2 garden seasons. I was like, it's just, I cannot keep up. But I felt that I was getting sad when I couldn't go out and garden. And then things got overgrown. And so I was like, okay, this is where the thing is. I have to develop a method on how I'm going to get these garden tasks done and get them done so that I can enjoy them. And so that has really helped me. So either I will write down my garden tasks at night after I walk through the garden before I go to bed. I'll be like, okay, what all do I want to get accomplished today? Or I will put on a timer and just say, okay, put your timer on like I just did. Clean this bed out. And tomorrow is going to be the same way, because I'll show you where it's getting bad at over here. Let me see. How tall is your arch? Are you talking about this, or are you talking about this one? Put like the brown arch or the silver arch in the comments. But I'll just answer both. Let me see. I'm 5'7". I want to say this may be maybe 7 or 8 feet. Maybe this one is 7 or 8 feet. These are they call them ladder mesh that you get at the big box stores. And I've just cut these down. They start off as 10 feet. They're very long, but I have the wire cutters and I just cut them. I cut these to fit here. And then for me to be able to, because tomorrow, y'all, here in Georgia, it was 81 today. I think it's going to be 86. And I still have my cool weather plants in here. And so I'm going to have to put the shade cloths over these collards, and over all of these cool weather vegetables, because this can like confuse the plant and cause it to bolt and go to seed. And I don't want that. So before I even start work tomorrow, when I get up, I'm going to come and I'm going to put my shade cloths on all of these beds. And I should be ashamed of myself because I have the trellises like this for those over there, but I have yet to cut them. They're in the back of the truck. I got to cut them and put them up. So we probably going to make one of those, one of our task lists before the end of the week. But what I was sharing with you is that this bed is starting to get like taken with the straw mulch seeds, and so I need to clean it out. Now this may take, this bed over here took me 11 minutes. So this bed over here with these growing up like this, it's probably take 15-20 minutes. But I specifically try to wait until they get about this size right here, because I can work with it better when they're still small, because you want to pull them up from the roots so that they don't keep growing back. When they're real small, it's tough to handle. When they get about this size, it's so easy for me to like grab it and pull it from the roots. But it does, when it gets like this bulk, sometimes I can come in and just take quite a few of them and pull them up. But like I shared with someone, this is the chance that you're taking. The straw mulch is so cost effective. I get the big bale either from Tractor Supply, Home Depot, or Lowe's, and it goes a long way, but you are risking if the straw seeds are in there. Now, I shared with y'all what one of the ladies told me that built the raised bed. She was like, and I have not thought about to do it yet, because by the time I go buy the straw mulch, I need it, and I need it right then, to put down, because I've ran out. But what she was sharing was, go ahead, open it up, put water in here, soak it, close it back. Um, and so if it is some straw seed in there, it'll suffocate it. Wait about 3 to 5 days and then put it down. But I promise y'all, by the time I go buy it, I need it right then and there. So I haven't had a chance to test that out. But I just really wanted to share that with you. Like, if you really want to garden and you just feel like, I don't have enough time. Now, depending on what all you want to garden, you have to be mindful about that, because that's the first thing I ask people when they say they're either starting to garden, they're thinking about gardening. The first thing I ask them is, how much time, and be realistic, how much time do you have to devote to gardening? And that answer may change in 6 months. It may change in a year. It may change in 5 years. But at the moment, because when I was commuting the way I was, and by the time I got home and helped the kids with the homework, I might have had probably maybe like 45 minutes to an hour. And I was trying to grow a whole bunch of stuff. So that's why I had to scale back and, like, okay, it's you're going to keep overwhelming yourself doing this. So now that the kids are, out of the house, they're grown, and it's just me and Chris, I have more time to devote. Like on the weekend, if I choose to, I could be out here from sun up to sundown. It would not bother me a bit. If we have something planned, I have to adjust my schedule a little bit, but that's what you really have to ask yourself, because if you don't have a lot of time, I definitely would not advise that you take on a big, like, a lot of things to grow, a lot, because y'all know I don't call them weeds, but a lot of times the plants that we don't want in areas, they can really grow very fast, very, very fast. And I'm going to give you an example. This bed right here, y'all remember I shared with you about it. We cleaned this bed out. We put some annuals right here. We put our garlic chives. We got our yarrow. We got our broccoli right here. And I think I just did this bed maybe about 4 to 5 weeks ago, where I just cleaned it out and did everything I needed to do. I need to come right on back in here, and I need to clean this bed out. So I'll probably put like a 20-minute timer, and I'm going to have to differentiate. Okay, these are garlic chives, so I got to pull this back. I'm like, okay, this is the straw mulch, so I need to pull this. So I'm going to put like 20 minutes. I think I could accomplish what I need to accomplish, like pulling up all of these little plants right here. And when I do this bed right here, I really want to feed the broccoli with the fish and seaweed mulch, but I can put about 20 minutes on here and I'll be done. That's how I kind of work when it comes to the garden. And what I'll do, and that's why I was making the videos, y'all, in phase 1. Phase 2 is because I worked on this area first, and then I came over here and I started working on this area, and then I still owe y'all a herb garden update that I'm almost done with on one side, but I need to finish the other side. So that's how I have to work in order to get things accomplished. What do you think about rescuing plants that are being thrown out? Huh? That's how I started, Tori. Oh, I did not pay full price for no plant at all. And this is the thing. A lot of people, I think I did a video about this a while. A lot of people turn their nose up at a lot of plants. I used to shop nothing but the clearance rack. This is no lie. I will go into the big box stores, and I share with y'all sometimes how they water those plants. And I would tell myself, go back in about 3 to 5 days. They'll have it on the clearance rack. Now, let me tell you, what I do really, 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 really look for, really, are the perennials. Like, this was clearance. This was clearance. All of the perennial. Oh, let me tell you, last year, the butterfly bush, Let's walk over here. I'm glad you asked that, honey. I'm a clearance. Only when like it has to be a plant that I'm really, really drawn to. I promise you, half of this pollinator island right here, all of these were on clearance. Oh yeah, I'm a big advocate for if you can get clearance, get it, because I'm telling you, people just turn their nose up at the clearance plants. They really, really do. And they do look bad, but you know just how people used to say with the old house, you see they got good bones to it or the goodness to it. Like you got to look past those leaves. And oh, let me share with you this. All of these plants, not the snapdragons, but these speedwells right here, all of these $1, $1, $1, $1, $1, because I knew $1. All of these like $1. I knew first of all that they were perennials. And see, another thing is people want to see the colors when they buy. Like let me just share this with you. If I pay full price, it's going to be real healthy. I'm real funny about my plants. If I pay full price, I want it to be the healthiest ever. All of these cat pajamas, they were $3 right here. If I pay full price, is going to be the best of the best. But if I pay clearance, then I look past what other people may look at. And I'm like, I know this is a perennial. I've gotten a few annuals too. Don't get me wrong. Like a lot of times they'll have that, I think it's like a 12 pack at the big box stores. Like they'll mark it down like half price, like marigolds and begonias, like when they mark those down. And it depends on what time of season it is too. But most of the time, I look past what it looks like. I will come home, I will clip it, doctor it up, and plant it, and it comes back. Because I know these flocks right here. We had these in Savannah, and I was like, oh, they were so beautiful. I hope I can find them again. And like towards the end of the season, for perennials, they will start marking a lot of things down. As a matter of fact, Tori, half of this garden, as far as flowers, are nothing but clear. And I'm going to show you this last example. This was a clearance plant. When I say that they look, they be looking sad. It's coming back. This was a clearance plant. This is a phlox because that was clearance and that was clearance. But I knew it was a perennial. I bought it last season. I came and put a little bit of compost on here and they come back so good. End of the season, all of these were on clearance. Yeah, half of my garden is clearance, and I will continue to buy clearance. I see past all of that, that people walk right on by. Um, Saw them at my job renovating big aloe plants. Don't know what it is, dark green and light green, but yeah. I'm a big, you will always hear me say, if you can get it on clearance, get it on clearance. And y'all know I love to start things from seed as well. Um, but that is, yeah, because I know how to talk to them and bring them on back and put them in a good place. This whole this whole garden right here, this whole garden, Tori, I promise you, clearance plants, clearance, 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 everything in here, clearance, all the way down to the tulips last season, clearance. Yeah, we do clearance around here. Um, but yeah, because a lot of times they don't look good. And I'm going to tell y'all this. So we've been selling a lot of our plants locally. I've been putting them online for pickup. And I will tell you, sometimes it takes a lot on a continuous basis, to upkeep the plants, to make sure that they're always looking healthy, and to water them and to clip them. Now, I've never seen, like, not at the big box stores. I have seen at some of the smaller family-owned garden centers, where they will actually go in and, clip them and shape them up a little bit, but they don't have time to do that. And then a lot of the people that are there that work, because I think they're like, I don't think they're like the hourly work. I think they're like contracted out, but they just water the plants. You know what I mean? And then like I was looking at one guy the other day, I was like, Lord, bless that plant, because it didn't get but 2 drops of water with the way he was watering it. But I will say it does take it takes a lot to like upkeep the plants when you have like a business and trying to make sure that they always look good. And as we get ready to go into the hotter season, remember I share with you, if in a container, the smaller the container it is, the more you're gonna have to water. Like a 4-inch pot, you're gonna have to probably water that 2 to 3 times a day. So you gotta factor in that time. I just said today, I've been playing around and I was so thankful. They actually had thunderstorm warnings here yesterday, but I was so thankful that we got a good block of rain. Because sometimes, like I think Sunday, they said it was going to rain. Y'all, here it might have been 10 drops to fall. But yesterday, I think it rained pretty good and pretty steady for about an hour. And no lie, y'all, it seems like as soon as it rained, these plants like perked up, like they were waiting on it. Like I will come out here and I will water everything. But I just said, as part of my list that I'm going to make, I got to come out here and I have to start checking my drip because this drip is about to go on. Now in the fall and the winter time, I will turn the drip off because I don't want it to freeze either. Um and we're almost to that point. My mom always say the Easter snap, where I think it's safe to just go ahead and turn the drip back on, because I'm always saying, when you water, you just don't want to be doing this, just you want to water deep, because you don't want to be watering every day. Like I don't have to water every day when I water deep. And then I also have, for some of these in-ground beds, not all of them, we have these grow Oyas where you put the water in and it waters everything from the root. It's about maybe 3/4 gone, but I have the grow Oyas right here. I have them right here, and I have some more that I need to dig and put in, and then I have some right here. So this helps me out a lot. Now I still have to water, but I don't have the grow Oya right here. But these are perennials and garlic, and then I just planted the spinach not too long ago, and then it's saffron over there. Now I'm like I was sharing with somebody, oh, I'm being bad because it's really not time for peppers, but the place that I bought them from, they had their outside and it was cold one morning. So I'm like, well, they've been outside and you can see it's taking just a little bit of damage. See, I'm being hard headed, and I've already topped these peppers off. We did a video about topping off, but I've already topped them off. But those are just, some things to think about. And what I will share with you is, as the weather warms up, it's probably going to be more tasks that we have to do. Like I slow down a lot in the fall and the winter because things slow down. The growing slows down. So I slow down quite a bit. But now, as it's getting warmer, like today, and let me tell y'all, sometimes I got to talk to myself because I will come out here. So I came out here today. I was like, you got to lay this tarp where the weed fabric down, where the rose garden is back there. If you could see the black back there, I was like, you got to go ahead and lay that down, because if it just rained yesterday, and I'm like, if this grass starts growing up, you're going to have a time on your hands. So that was one of my tasks. But as I was going out there, this is why I got to talk to myself, y'all, because I will pass by something. Like I was passing by this bed right here, and I went back in the house and I was like, I got to deadhead these cosmos here because I want them to like really have a lot of blooms. So I went in, got my snips, and I started deadhead these. I said, this is not what you are out here to do. Leave these cosmos alone and go and finish what you said you was going to do. I do that so much. And that is where Chris and we are so opposite. Like he will stay on one thing until he gets it done. He will not just be all over the place. I multitask a whole bunch, which is why sometimes I don't even get a project completed, and I'm working on myself and I'm working on that, which is why I told myself today, leave these cosmos alone and go ahead and finish doing what you said you was going to do. What was on the list, because you didn't put cosmos on the list. So that's how I have to that's how I got to talk to myself too, y'all. And then, no, this is no lie. So I was putting up the rest of the stuff, and I was like, let me go ahead and put my timer on. I came over here feeling this summer savory. I was like, oh, wow, look at the new growth on here. And I see where I had some old growth and new growth. Okay, so I didn't start clipping that. I said, this is not what we're out here to do. Leave this winter savory alone and do what you are supposed to do. Like, I have to tell myself that, because I will start, and that's how, and I do that inside cleaning up too. Like, I will walk to go get something, see something else, and then start doing that. And it's like, okay, what was I doing? So that's why I have to constantly say, this is not what you're out here to do. So every day I'll recap before I leave. If you want to, if you're busy, because remember, if you're just joining us, I did not get off last night to 9 o'clock, and I clocked in at 7. And it's like, you got to develop a plan, because gardening is so therapeutic for me. This is something at this point in my life I'm not willing to give up. I'm not willing to give up gardening. So I'm like, you got to make a way to make it work for you, because I'm not willing to give it up. Like, a lot of times when people get on my nerves, I'll come right on out here to this garden and I'll do what I got to do. And I just be really good. It's like the garden just really soothes me, and the plants don't talk back, and I just think about all of that stuff. I just let it go. So what I have done over the past is I will do things like put a timer on. Like, if it's just something random and I got some time to spend, I'm like, put a timer on, work on this, go. And or every night or in the morning, I will come and I got a notebook and I have a pen. And so right before I get ready to come in tonight, I will be like, okay, what needs to be done? I'm going to tell you one thing that's going to be on my list for tomorrow, because I got to make it up. So I noticed that some of my roses got aphids on it. I did see some ladybugs, which is good, but I'm like, y'all know I had a problem with Japanese beetles last year, and I'm like, we're not about to start this. It's too early in the season to be dealing with the pests, because these slugs gonna get it too for my Chinese cabbage. Like, they just really getting a little bit too bold in their actions on what they want to do. I caught one red-handed, but oftentimes you won't see the slugs come out until like nighttime. But y'all see the damage that is done. I'm like, okay, y'all getting bold now. Okay, y'all want to be bad, but I got something for you. So the two things that I'm going to put on my list for tomorrow is I need to, put down my sluggo for the slugs. And then for the aphids, I need to make up my insecticidal soap. I always say it's levels to pest control. I'm not trying to eliminate every single aphid, but I don't want it to get out of control. My purpose is to decrease the population of the aphids. So we're going to first, I've identified it. I've already seen them. They're green aphids. They are on the roses. So the first thing I'm going to do is make up my insecticidal soap, put a couple drops of peppermint essential oil in there, and I'm just gonna spray all of the roses. So we're gonna spray that. I'm gonna wait a few days and I'm gonna see. If not, then we'll just keep going up to, okay, let's work on this again. But those are two things that I'm going to put on my list for tomorrow. I already have to put on my list that I gotta finish up the where the fountain is. I had to clean out the fountain. And let me tell y'all about the sun, and when we get garden decor. The sun really weighs on a lot of garden decor. And then when I was washing the fountain out, some of the paint was chipping off, but we're not going to worry about that. I just love the sound of a fountain. And I think we bought that, I want to say that towards the end of 2023. And I have to find another concrete fountain for the pollinator island, because it has like a crack in there, so it leaks. But the outdoor environments can really wear and tear on a lot of the garden decor. But that's like down on the priority list. That's nothing that I need to do today or tomorrow or even this week. I have been on the lookout. I have been looking. It's a couple of places that I do want to go here in the Atlanta area, but it's not like I got to go tomorrow. Now, what I'm going to do tomorrow, like I said, is work on those. Um, we're going to work on the pests, the aphids, and the slugs for this area right here. I probably could do the sluggo tonight because I have that. I think that's what I'm going to do. We're going to do the sluggo tonight, and then I'm going to finish up where the fountain is. And we really have to come up with a maintenance schedule because maybe 3 weeks ago, it was on a Sunday, I came and I redid these beds and I redefined the lines right here. But I told myself when I was doing it, every 2 weeks, come in, make sure that this is clean right here, because this actually took me longer than I expected. But every 2 weeks, I'm like, you got to come in, you got to make sure you pull up the plants that you don't want here and redefine that line so that the grass does not continue to go in like that. And so that is a what I would call like order to not have so much on me at one time. I think that was the Sunday that I literally was out here between 6 to 8 hours because I'm like, if you could get these two beds done, because I had already did the raised beds. I was like, if you could get these two beds done, you will be finished for the most part. Now, I still am trying to figure out what I want to plant up front and over here. I pulled up a couple of the Shaberti alliums because we have wild onions in the yard, and then it's like wild onions that grow and they all start off the same. And I'm like, I don't know which one which. So it got a lot of the alliums that I planted probably got pulled up, but I mean, it's okay. We got plenty more plants that put here in this area. These salvias right here, specifically on the tag, said it was an annual salvia. It does not come back. And lo and behold, I pulled up. We had this whole area filled up. I pulled up most of them, but I said, you know what? I'm going to leave these three right here. I just want to see. I also do a lot of testing in the garden. So I put dahlias in the ground because we're moving from Savannah. I could leave my dahlias in the ground because Savannah had sandy soil. And so they would come up every single year. Now, I left the dahlias in the ground. I left them in the raised beds. And I also left some in the pots because I'm like, I gotta see. Now we did get down to 13. We are dealing with clay soil that stays, moist a lot. And so we'll see. I mean, that's the only way. Sometimes that's the only way you can learn. But this is what I have learned is I can leave them in my raised beds. So I can leave my dahlias in the raised beds. I put this bamboo stake right here because we had one in the ground. We just gonna see. I just cut it back. But they do good in the raised beds because they're starting to wake back up right here and right here. So this is how you test, and this is how you know what you can and what you can't do in the area. And by us have moved so much throughout, like, Chris's military career, I have to test things out. So I'm just used to testing things and seeing what works. Like, it's not that I'm not listening to people, but you know how sometimes people be like, no, you can't do that. Nope, don't do that. And I'm like, why? Why not? Like, who told you that? So I will test out a lot of things for myself. And if I'm wrong, I'll be like, yeah, you're right. You can't do that, or hey, it worked for me. So I'm one that will test. But that's what I wanted to share with y'all. I'm going to get ready to get my things and come back in. We got some videos coming out. So if you're catching the replay or if you're new to us, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Make sure that you share this because as I've been delivering plants in this area, I've been talking to a lot of new gardeners. They want to get into gardening. They want to be able to grow, but they just have like a few like slip ups. Me and this lady was talking today, like she really wants to do it, but some plants she just can't keep alive. And what may seem simple to some people, like if you didn't grow up doing it, like you don't know. Like I have to just tell people, some people really don't know. And so one of the things that I was asking her, because she said that she had some pots on her porch. And I'm like, okay, how much sun does that porch get? Like, you have to think about that with what you're trying to grow, which is why another test that I did, and I shared this in a video on a plant that we're going to have to totally move. Like, the plant is telling me I'm not getting enough light. So you either move me or I'm not going to do good right here. So I'm going to have to find somewhere, because on the tag it said full sun to part sun. And it just depends on where you're at in the world. So, we here in Georgia, and when they say full sun might really mean part sun by the time it's all over for us in here in Georgia. So you just have to test it out. Now, when you put it in ground, it's a little bit harder, but this particular plant, it is in a container, and it's straight up telling me this ain't where I need to be. So you need to move me if you want me to flower and if you want me to produce. And I appreciate that. Like, if it was my peppers that are on the patio right now, they were yellowing because they were inside. We started them from seed, and it's because I was watering them, putting them up on the grow lights. Then they were starting to get the blooms on it. And so the leaves were starting to yellow. And so basically it's like, you need to give me some nutrients, because I'm trying to put on some flower buds, and this water ain't doing it. Now, I don't know if that's what, me and somebody on here said, if we could, how Dr. Doolittle used to be with the animals, if we could be like that with these plants sometimes. Now, I'm not saying that's what the plant said, but that's what I took it as when those leaves start yellowing. And y'all, I put a half strength fertilizer on there, and in about 3 days, honey, these leaves look vibrant and green. But you have to be able to, once you start checking on your plants, watching your plants, that's how I know over the last couple of days. Now, I couldn't do anything as far as pest maintenance because I knew it was going to rain. I knew it was going to rain. And so I'm like, it's no need for you to do anything because the rain is going to wash it off. But I knew from a couple days ago, this wouldn't like this. So I'm like, okay, y'all want to start playing me right now, but we're going to get to the bottom of all of this. And I've been harvesting so much lettuce, y'all. When I tell you, when you grow your own lettuce, just the whole difference. My sister was down here, and I hooked her on to arugula. And I learned about arugula while staying in Italy. But if you just haven't had arugula in your salad, just try it. I'm not saying make a whole arugula salad. Like I tell people, you do need to mix it with some greens, with different types of greens. But the arugula is just, it will take a salad to a whole nother level, in my opinion. But we've been harvesting from the patio container. We've also been harvesting from here. Now, these are getting a little bit big, but that's okay. We're going to take these up and we are going to chop them. We're going to chop them real good. And then a lot of our spinach that we started from seed is starting to take off as well. But another thing, and then I'm going to let y'all go, is I also, during the growing season, put myself on a feeding schedule for my plants. So tomorrow, after I clean the beds out, no later than Thursday, I have to think about that because I have to work. We are going to feed, because we started these beds first. These are the beds that we started first. And the rain really helped them out a lot. But now I'm going to come in with my fish and seaweed fertilizer, because we're dealing with leafy greens. When I deal with a lot of leafy greens, nothing that's really fruiting, I will come in with a fish and a seaweed fertilizer. But we planted all of this up first. And so what I'm going to do after I clean all of this, because things like this really irritate me, but like I said, it's a chance I have to take. I am going to come in, and this phase 1 is going to get fed. So we're going to feed this bed, but you have to put yourself on a maintenance schedule and put yourself on a feeding schedule. Hello, Shirley. How are you? Put yourself on that schedule, because that way you don't have to ask yourself, when did I feed it last, or when did I do it? So with the leafy greens, I don't feed them as much. My salad greens, I hardly feed at all because they're so quick growing. Like this is another type of arugula, takes about 28 days, and I'm harvesting it by then. So I come in with a slow release fertilizer, and I really don't do a whole lot. Like if this gets a little bit of the fish and seaweed fertilizer, that's fine, but I don't really focus on it. Now, when we start putting our tomatoes and cucumbers and peppers in the ground, that's when I come up with a fruiting schedule. I mean, a feeding schedule, because like I tell people, those, to me, in my opinion, those are heavy feeders. They're making, they're making bell peppers and they need that energy. They're making tomatoes. They need that energy. With our leafy greens, we're just growing them from the leaves. They still need to be healthy, but for the most part, I don't come in as often, but I am going to put myself on a schedule. Most of the time, I'm still going to do my slow release fertilizer when I plant them, but probably about every maybe 3 weeks, I'll come in with a liquid fertilizer, and I have one that's organic. I also do the Arbor. We are a partner with them. Arbor, they have all types of different feed. They have all types of different things for pests. And we always put that link in with our code. We always put that link in our description, but we use their products too, and we use some other ones as well. Like I always tell people, you have to find out what works for you and what works best for your plants, because everything is not good for everything. You know what I mean? Okay, y'all. So let me go put this up, because see, this will be here tomorrow. Let me go put this up, and let me make sure I take my stuff. I had to clean that bird bath. I mean, not bird bath, but the fountain. And I don't like to leave my tools out, which I did the other day, and I was so upset with myself. I don't like to leave them outside. Not my pruners and my snips. Now, a lot of my garden tools, I need to stop doing that too, like my hoe and my rake and stuff. I do leave outside because I'm like, well, I'm just going to use it the next day. But for long term, I really need to start putting those things up. It's baby steps. It's little bit at a time, little small changes at a time. But I hope you all have a great evening. I hope this information was helpful, especially if you're busy, especially if you still want to garden, but you're just trying to figure out how and when you'll have the time. So I hope you take these tips and you're able to garden. So you all have a great evening, and we'll talk again soon. Bye, y'all.